Jays and Twins tonight on Rogers Sportsnet. We look at Minnesota's lineup, and they picked up the win in last night's game to move to within 6.5 of the division-leading Detroit Tigers. Denard Span is their leadoff man. He was taken in the 0-2 draft, 20th overall from a Tampa Bay high school. One of two in the lineup hitting over 300, as Jason Kubel is batting .308. You'll notice no Joe Mauer in the lineup. He gets a day off, and with the Blue Jays throwing a left-hander, Ron Gardenhire picked a good time to give him a break, as lefty Ricky Romero goes to the mound tonight and makes his 24th start.
And Jamie tries to stop a personal 2-game losing streak against the Yankees. 7 earned runs, 4 of them, if you remember, in the first inning against the Yankees. Problem there were 6 walks. He also lost to Boston the start before that, when he lasted just 5 1/3 innings. The scouting report for young Ricky Romero tonight: he's got a fastball, 2 types of breaking balls, the curveball and the slider, and a very good changeup. It's effective when he's throwing it for strikes. He likes the Central Division. He's 3-0 with an ERA of 3.8, and he is getting out of trouble. When he finds his way on into trouble, he has the ability to get out of it. Runners in scoring position, 2 outs. Batters are hitting just 138 against him. When men are on base, they are hitting just 239 against Ricky Romero. So that's a good sign for a young pitcher.
Well, he starts with strike 1 on Denard Span. As we play some baseball tonight in Toronto, thank you for joining us. Romero, the lefty, with an 11-7 record, deals to the left-handed hitting Span, who has really put together some solid play for the Twins this year and has really pushed Carlos Gomez to the bench most nights. Hitting .310. Romero with the 1-1 pitch. And a swing and a miss.
Left-hander on the mound for the Blue Jays, and Gomez, who's a right-handed hitter, doesn't get into the lineup. What does that tell you?
That he's not hitting very well.
He is not, and Ron Gardenhire has a lot of confidence in Denard Span. Hitting .310 with 77 runs scored.
Here's the 1-2 pitch, and that's classic Gardenhire. You play well, you play hard, and you play often.
If you produce and you do the things to help the Minnesota Twins win games, you're going to play. And I love that about him. It doesn't matter. Beginning of the year, he had 4 outfielders for 3 spots. He said, if you produce, you will play. And he has kept his word all season long.
Gardenhire sips a cup of Joe and watches Denard Span on the 1-2 pitch. A breaking ball is low and away, 2-2. Romero had some interesting comments leading into tonight's ball game, saying he needs to be able to command his fastball. He said he knows the changeup, he knows the curve will be there. It's the fastball he has trouble with sometimes, especially when he's a little too amped up.
That was the focus in his bullpen session on Saturday after his start against the New York Yankees. He went down there and he's going to work on that fastball command, pound that zone. He says he has a tendency to overthrow it or try to overpower guys, and that's when he overthrows his fastball. He needs to slow down, slow the game down, and be a little bit more consistent.
The payoff, and that's ripped down the line, and the ball is in fair ground. Adam Lynn brings it in as Span is into second, with a leadoff double.
He jumped ahead early. Sam made note of that in our opening, that he jumped ahead strike 1, but can't finish off hitters. Span runs the count to 3-2, and then Romero has to throw him a fastball, and he whacks it down the left field line for a double. We were talking about that with nobody on. Batters are hitting .310 against Ricky Romero, but when they get on base, he's able to get out of trouble by making quality pitches. Batters just hitting .239 against him once someone reaches base.
Well, let's see what he can do against a quality batter, as Orlando Cabrera stands in, the number 2 hitter tonight. He makes his first appearance in the series and has split the year with the Athletics and the Twins, acquired from Oakland at the trade deadline.
Felt that they needed a shortstop to help them get into the playoffs. They're going to have to play some great baseball if they want to get into the playoffs and catch Detroit.
Here's a ground ball to McDonald at second. He goes to first to get Cabrera. A productive at bat as he moves Span up to third. We look at the Blue Jays and see how they set up defensively.
Some changes here tonight for the Blue Jays. Adam Lynn will get the start in left field. He'll be joined by Wells and Bautista, who will play right field. On the right side, a little bit different. Kevin Millar gets the start with a left-hander on the mound. John McDonald takes the place of Aaron Hill. Marco Scudero, Edwin Encarnacion will man the left side, and Raul Chavez will do the catching. And there's Johnny Mack getting another start at second base. He has just had a few this year because of the great year that Aaron Hill has had.
Hill is not here. He's with his wife Lindsay and their brand new baby daughter, who was born last night. Vernon Wells tells me that Aaron was able to make it down in time after he left the game around the third inning yesterday, in time for the birth of young Victoria. So congratulations to both Aaron and Lindsay. Here's a snap throw down to third, and they got him. Bernard Span leaking a little too far from third, and you better know what you're doing if you're going to test his arm.
Hey, that's why I love Raul Chavez. He's very active behind the plate. He's not afraid to throw behind you, to throw to all the bases. He is averaging about 40% caught stealing. And here's another one. He picks off Span. That is a play that he will set up with the third baseman before. Watch how Encarnacion breaks as soon as the fastball is away, and they get Span easily at third base for the second out.
The catcher helps out his pitcher, who deals the 1-1, and it misses for ball two.
That is his third pickoff of the bases. You cannot be afraid to throw the ball around if you're a catcher. He's accurate, he's quick, and he is aggressive when catching. He's really opened my eyes as a catcher this year.
Swing and a miss, and probably bought himself another contract for next year as Span takes a sip of a drink. Now in the dugout. They get him off the bases, get the second out, and now Chavez works with Romero, a 2-2 count on the designated hitter Jason Kubel. And they miss there, 3-2. Ball four. He loses the designated hitter and now has to deal with Justin Morneau, who will bat with a man on.
This has been the problem that we have seen from Ricky Romero over his last 6 starts. Earlier in the year, when he was strong and fresh and the league did not know him, he was very aggressive, averaging about 16 pitches per inning. But over his last 6 starts, that has jumped up to almost 20 pitches per inning to get him through. Think about that. 4 more pitches per inning, and you average 6 innings. That's 24 pitches right there. Just an extra pitches to finish off hitters.
As much as those 6 walks in the last start hurt him against the Yankees, so too did an error in the first inning committed by the right fielder that night, Travis Snyder, on what was nothing more than a single by Hideki Matsui. 3 runs scored as the defense really undermined Romero's performance. Here's the 1-0. And it's high to Justin Morneau.
But you have to come back. You have to pick up your fielders. They're going to pick you up at times. When you don't have your good stuff, they're going to make great plays behind you and help you. When they boot a ball, kick one around, that's when you take the bull by the horns and you pick him up and get that next hitter.
In fact, they've done that tonight with Chavez as this ball is taken out of play. Morneau was able to snap an 0 for 19 in yesterday's game with an RBI single. And if the Twins are to catch the Tigers, they desperately need this man to heat up.
And he knows it. And maybe that's why he's pressing over his last 15 games, hitting under 100.
The 2-1. And that's out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I saw a quote from him today about, hey, I know that I have to hit to help us win. That's why I'm hitting fourth. I'm in big RBI situations. I have to win. I have to hit for us to win. And maybe that puts a little added pressure on you when you get up to that plate.
Well, I know Morneau's childhood hitting coach is watching tonight. His dad, George, who tutored young Justin, especially back in the old days when he was playing for the North Delta Blue Jays. And he gets a piece there as Romero's having a tough time finishing him off here.
He's at the 20 pitch limit again, what we just talked about. Now it's up to 21. His last 6 starts that we talked about in the opening, 101 pitches to get through 5 2/3. He's got to bring that down.
Chavez sets up away. The pitch is across the plate and fouled out of play yet again.
Scott Richmond did a good job coming back after a very tough first inning.
Boy, did he ever.
He started pounding the strike zone. He got his pitches down in the strike zone, getting ahead, and he actually got 6 innings when it didn't look like he was going to get through 2 last night.
They had Dirk Hayhurst warming up with 2 out in the first inning in yesterday's game. Richmond survived the affair, though he took the loss as that ball is down in the dirt, 3-2.
Third batter this inning that he has gone 3-2. He says the fastball's there. I have no problem with that. I just have to command it. And Cito says the same thing. His location with his fastball has got to be better. It's got to get down. I have no problem with his off-speed stuff.
There goes the runner, and that's grounded fair down the right field line. A diving Millar can't get to it. And Kubel is waved home, but did somebody touch that ball? Yeah, the security guy did. He's a little red-faced, and rightly so.
Now, Cito's going to come out and talk to the home plate umpire, Paul Schreiber, because they're going to let the run score from third base.
That's in the judgment of the umpire.
Right, and remember, 3-2, 2 outs, he was taking off on the play, so in their judgment, he felt like he was going to score. Breaking ball from Romero, ripped down the right field line by Morneau. That runner was going to score easily, but the security guard picks that one off and then says, uh-oh, what have I done? But it really doesn't matter.
Although you've got Jose Bautista out there, and he's got a pretty good arm. But Kubel,
yeah, he was
likely would have scored anyway.
Yeah, with him taking off on the 3-2 pitch, he was going to score.
And Joe West is saying, hey, Cito, don't blame us here. I mean, blame your own employees out there.
Well, I've seen this work on both ways. I've been on the other end where there's a runner on first base. He takes off, and the umpires didn't think they would score, and they would send the runner back. So there's nothing wrong with Cito going out there to talk to him and just ask him.
Well, Morneau drives in his 99th run of the year. Dad George will be thrilled with that watching back in British Columbia. As Michael Kadire steps in. So Minnesota takes an early lead. And there's a strike.
Big pickoff by Chavez now saves the Blue Jays a run. And this is how yesterday's game started. Scott Richmond threw a couple of good pitches that the Minnesota Twins, who were struggling to score runs, still hit and got base hits on.
Strike 2. Kadire has gone just 1 for 15 on this road trip through the first 3 games in Cleveland and through yesterday's ball game. And that lone hit was in the first inning yesterday against Scott Richmond, an RBI single to center field. He's got Morneau at second, 2 out. 1 ball, 2 strikes as Romero sets, checks the runner. Here's the pitch, and he got him. It finally comes to an end as Romero skips off. 1 run in for the Twins, who take the early lead. Bautista bats in the 2-hole. Adam Lind comfortably ensconced in number 3, hitting .356 in his last 19 games. Randy Ruiz is back in the lineup. Good to see him as the DH against his old team, the Minnesota Twins, who throw a left-hander tonight, Brian Dunsing.
19th game, but his 5th start. He is looking for his 4th consecutive strong outing since the Twins moved him into the rotation. As of lately, Brian Dunsing says that he has slowed the game down. When he is on the mound, he is throwing strikes. Doesn't throw very hard. But like, again, typical Twins pitchers. They'll come right after you. They'll be very aggressive, and they'll throw a lot of strikes.
Leading off is Marcos Scutaro, who leads all shortstops in the big leagues with 94 runs scored. He's been a rock at the top of the order for the Blue Jays this year, and he fouls that one away. Bert Blyleven was telling us that they scout based on pitchers who are good control pitchers, guys who might not be big in terms of throwing with velocity, but do know how to control a game.
Have an idea, and they throw strikes, and they're not going to go out and walk people. I mean, this goes back for years and years and years. The Minnesota Twins have had guys who work quickly, and they throw a lot of strikes.
Dunsing is 26. He comes from Marysville, Kansas. And on the 2-1 pitch, throws it low on Scutaro.
You know what I think Minnesota Twins do, Jamie, is when they draft a player and they've got a good scouting report on them and they have an idea, when they send them to the minor leagues, they don't let them jump from level to level unless they're absolutely sure that they can handle the next level, that they can throw strikes. The higher up you go in the minor leagues, you have to be able to pitch. You can't be a thrower. You can't just blow the ball by everybody. You have to be able to pitch and command that strike zone. And the Twins don't let their pitchers move up until they prove that they can do that.
This is hit high and deep to right field. Kadire backs up and makes the catch. And Scutaro is erased as we look at the Twins and their defensive alignment tonight.
Well, they'll make a couple of changes also. You mentioned that Joe Mauer not in the lineup tonight. Well, let's start in the outfield. Young, Span, and Kadire, all good throwing arms out there at 12 assists between the three of them. A new left side of the infield, the one we saw yesterday, the veteran Cabrera and Brendan Harris on the left side tonight. Nick Punto, who started at shortstop, slides over to second. But still a very good fundamental defensive ball club. They will not beat themselves.
Jose Bautista stepped in midway through yesterday's game when Aaron Hill was pulled out. They brought Joe Inglet from right field in to play second base. Bautista went out to right and ended up hitting his 4th home run of the year and his first at bat in the ball game. He grounds this to short. There's Cabrera. Has a little trouble with it, but manages to get it to first in time, and that gives us a chance to look at Dunsing's scouting report.
Well, the young left-hander will not overpower hitters. His fastball is about 88 to 91 miles an hour, but he's got good control with it. He'll change speeds with his off-speed stuff, the changeup, the curveball, the slider. He'll change speeds with them, and it's just another young arm that the Twins have developed. This is just his 5th major league start. We saw Jeff Manship in yesterday's game. They have had some injuries to their starting rotation also. So they dip down into their minor league system and they find a couple of kids who could come in and produce for them.
Here's Adam Lind. And if you have watched with regularity this year, you know he's having a sensational season. And when it comes time to saying, okay, who was the most valuable position player on the Blue Jays, it might not be that easy to just say Aaron Hill. Because as much as Hill's had a great year, so too has Adam Lind. He's really opened some eyes.
He started on the first day of the season, and he hasn't stopped.
He hits this one to left field. Delman Young turns and finds the baseball and makes an awkward-looking catch. And then hands off to Span. He'll carry it in from here. As Dunsing goes 1, 2, 3 through the order. And after 1 inning of play, it's the Twins 1 and the Blue Jays no score. From Rogers at any wireless wave T-Booth retail location throughout Canada. As we bring you to the 2nd inning of play, Ricky Romero dishes a strike to the 3rd baseman, Brendan Harris. He'll be followed by Delman Young and then the catcher, Mike Redmond.
You know, I looked up some numbers on Ricky Romero today, because now we have a large swath of numbers that we can compare to. And I looked up, I said, okay, if Ricky Romero jumps ahead of a hitter 0-1, what is that hitter going to hit? And this goes back to strike one, how important it is. Batters are hitting just 227 off of Romero when he jumps ahead 0-1. After 1-0, if he falls behind a hitter, they're hitting 301.
Major difference.
So it's so imperative that you throw strikes early. And we've talked about this before on the broadcast. You know, what's the best pitch to throw?
Strike one.
Strike one. Because you put the hitter at such a disadvantage. Now you can do so many different things to him as a pitcher. Scott Richmond, I thought, did that from the second inning on. He got ahead strike one and then went to work. Gave up just one more run in 5 innings. Let's see if Ricky can do that now after the first inning.
They appeal, and Paul Naut says he doesn't go around. So here we have yet another pat, 3-2 count on a Twins batter. In this case, it's Brendan Harris. Ricky winds and fires, and it's way high for ball 4. So he loses Harris, and like the first inning, the lead man is aboard.
His only start against the Twins was a great one way back in April. April the 14th at the Metrodome, he pitched a whale of a game.
He went 8 innings that day against the Twins, gave up just 2 runs on 8 hits.
And you would think, okay, a 4-game series and the Jays are going to win 3 of them. That's the only game they lost.
It is, as they lost in the 11th inning, a 3-2 loss.
That's right. He gave up those 2 runs in 8 strong innings and came away with a no decision.
Here's a 1-0 count to Delman Young. Harris the man at first, and the pitch is driven to right field. Bautista is there, and that sends Harris back to the bag. You know, in that game, Romero got into a whole heap of trouble in the 6th inning. The bases loaded, nobody out. But what did he do? He struck out Michael Godire, and he got Joe Creedy to ground into a 1-2-3 double play and managed to wiggle out of it.
I remember that. I remember saying at the time, boy, that really shows you something when a young kid can get himself into trouble and then figure a way to get out of it. And he'll take that and learn from it. And he obviously has, when we talk about the numbers, when he has men on base. Especially scoring position and 2 out. Batter's hitting just a .138 against him. That's pretty good.
It was also about that time that he sneezed in Minneapolis and essentially strained his oblique muscle. Went out and pitched again his next start here at the Rogers Center against Oakland, and then found himself on the disabled list for about a month because of a strained oblique muscle.
Something
essentially from sneezing.
As simple and as innocent as that.
There goes Harris. It's grounded to short, and Scutaro has only one play. He goes to first to get Redmond. So they start the runner, and that pays off for the Twins.
Yeah, the team has been struggling to score runs as Minnesota. Yesterday, the first time they've scored 6 runs since August the 25th in yesterday's game. Ron Gardenhire knows that. He has to get his team on track here. So he starts the runner, hoping to open up a few holes on the infield. Maybe they can play first to third. Scutaro holds his ground and completes the second out.
Here's the number 9 hitter, Nick Puto. And you know that the Twins tonight will be keeping an eye on the scoreboard. The Tigers start a series in Kansas City this evening. Rick Porcello goes for Detroit. Bruce Chen for the Royals. That's bounced to third. Scoop by Encarnacion. And he gets it there in time to get the speedy Punto and gets Romero out of the inning. Still 1-0 Minnesota. LCD TV with ultra brilliant full array LED backlight and a Blu-ray disc player. Aquos LED, the evolution of LCD TV continues. To enter and find out more, please visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. This is Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino tonight. As well, our Sportsnet.ca columnist and statistician Scott Carson joins us in the broadcast booth for Game 2 of 4 between the Twins and the Blue Jays. There's a smiling Vernon Wells, who leads off the second for Toronto. They're down 1-0.
It's going to be hard to get the ball in the air against Dunsing. He has not given up a home run since August the 11th. You're talking about home runs, Jays. If they hit 3 of them, you have a chance to win a nice prize. It's going to be hard. Doesn't mean they can't do it. It's going to have to make a mistake, and they're going to have to hit it.
Wells has always been a pretty good mistake hitter, especially on pitches in
and up. You know, I'm impressed with Vernon Wells, the way he hits the pitch up. Hasn't had a lot of hits this month.
Here's the 2-2, hit lightly to left field. It carries a ways, and Young has to come sprinting in to make the grab.
He's had a couple troubles in left field on that ball to end the first inning, where he did the 360 to make the catch. You don't want to take your eyes off the ball at this time of the day, because it's twilight, and the background that Delman Young is looking up into is just about the same color as the baseball. So if you turn and pirouette like he did in the first inning, it's tough to pick the ball back up.
Here's a great sight. Randy Ruiz fouls off the first pitch from Dunsing, playing today against his former team. He made his big league debut with the Twins last year and got into a handful of games, and we saw him on Sunday take a Josh Towers pitch on the left cheek. It was ugly. And the best part of it is that all he suffered was a lacerated lip. He had a fat lip for a little time, and no concussion, no missing teeth, no broken bones, no nothing.
I talked to Doc Taylor the next day, and I asked how he was doing, and he said he's fine. He said he was really scared that, maybe getting hit in the face, he was going to be blocking some airways or anything like that. None of that happened. He was going to go to the dentist this week and make sure that everything is fine. Nothing got jarred inside his mouth, but that you're right. This is a great sign to see him in that batter's box, because he is a threat with the long ball. 6 of them already in just 71 at bats since being recalled. And don't you think he wants to make a statement in this series against the Minnesota Twins?
Well, he's hit those 6 home runs in 20 games with the Jays. With Minnesota last year, in 22 games, he hit only 1 home run, and that was in Seattle against lefty Ryan Roland Smith. Here's the 2-2. And that's aired out down the line. And out of play.
Guys, what I find fascinating about the injury was, and it wasn't really talked about a lot, but one of the initial tests they did, aside from not having x-rays, was do a test to see if he was concussed at all. And obviously that's the first thing that you think of, anything around the head area, especially after what happened to Aaron Hill last year. But passed those concussion tests with flying colors, and it's pretty good to come out of it with just a fat lip.
No question there, Sam. There's the 2-2. Down and in, and he swings over top of it. Strike 3.
Dunsing has a couple of different types of breaking balls, a curveball and a slider. That looked like the slider that he'll throw in on right-handers. I was watching his last start against the Chicago White Sox, and he pitched all the right-handers that way. When he got to 2 strikes, he threw 2 types of breaking balls, a slider down and in, or he tried to backdoor a curveball. Put that in your memory banks. Think about that, and if you get the 2 strikes, sit on it.
There's Kevin Millar, who engaged in a web chat today with Blue Jay fans on BlueJays.com. And he laces that to center field, a base hit, and that must feel good for Millar, who breaks out of an 0 for 13 run.
If you're going to have a big game, chat every day. You know what that also does, Jamie, is it breaks 19 straight batters by the Blue Jays have gone down from yesterday. The last 14 of the game went down, and then the first 5 here. So Kevin Millar will stop that streak. Let's see if the Blue Jays can get him around now. Great relief pitching yesterday by Minnesota. I thought that was the key to the game. It felt like the Jays were going to come back. Even though they were down by 5 runs early, it seemed like they were going to come back and take it from them. And they just slammed the door shut, did the Minnesota Twins bullpen.
Bobby Keppel was the only reliever of 5 for the Twins to give up a base hit, and that was a Vernon Wells single in the 5th that scored a run. Beyond that run, Mayhay went 2/3 of perfect baseball. Jesse Crane, an inning and a third. He got the win. Matt Guerrier, Joe Nathan. A lockdown bullpen yesterday in the victory as Encarnacion fouls it away.
They faced 12 batters. The last 12 batters faced by the Minnesota bullpen, they struck out 7 of them. I mean, that's domination. That's, hey, we're going to win this game and just slam it shut.
No balls and 2 strikes here on Encarnacion. He rolls this to Cabrera. They get the force, and that's the inning. With 2 in the books, the Twins lead 1-0. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. Ricky Romero gave up the run on 2 hits in the first inning, driven in by Justin Morneau. The leadoff hitter Denard Span led off the game with a double, but was picked off at third by Raul Chavez. Here's Span again. Second time through the order for the Twins. First pitch swinging, and that's a fair ball, bouncing right over the bag as the speedy Span heads for second, an easy double. So he's got a pair of them so far tonight. And no involvement from the security guy down there this time.
Not this time. Give him a second chance that he doesn't mess that one up. Span now has 13 doubles. He almost has as many triples as doubles coming into this game. You mentioned this as his second one. He has 9 triples. If that ball got into the corner, that would have been number 10. But he leads it off with a double like he did his last time.
And the last time we saw Orlando Cabrera, he hit the ball to the right side, allowing Span to advance to third base. And look what he does here. And this one sneaks through for a base hit. They'll hold Span at third. Cabrera picks up a base hit. And Pat, you know this organization, the Minnesota Twins, stresses the fundamentals.
They practice it. day in and day out in the minor leagues. They grow up in the minor leagues, teaching the game of baseball to be played the right way. 2 at-bats in a row now. Cabrera's going to give himself up. Comes through, though, with a base hit on the right side. The first time up, he got spanned to third base. He was picked off. Cabrera that time rips it into right field. And the Twins are in business. They have their best hitters coming up now with runners on.
First and third for Jason Kubel, who takes strike 1 from Romero. Kubel drew a walk in the first inning and then came home on Morneau's double.
You know, Jamie, you don't just come to the big leagues and say, okay, now I'm going to learn to play the game the right way. I mean, it starts when you're a young kid, but when you get to the minor leagues, every day, fundamental baseball. Back up the right base, cover the right base, throw to the right base, hit the cutoff man, run the bases correctly. There's so many little idiosyncrasies of the game that mean so much.
A line shot to center field by Kubel.
And if you do those right things, good things are going to happen, and it's going to happen for Kubel.
A 2-run double. Cabrera touches just behind Span. It's 3-0 Minnesota.
So they get the double to lead off the inning. Cabrera shoots one to the right side to set up an inning. You have your best hitters coming up, and Kubel has been having a huge year. Splits Wells and Bautista. By the time Vernon can run the ball down, 2 runs are going to score. And Kubel has another extra base hit and 2 more RBIs. That's his 30th double of the season.
And so here's Morneau now with a chance to join Mark Teixeira, Evan Longoria, and Carlos Pena as members of the American League with 100 runs driven in. He's standing on 99, and this one is grounded to short. He's thrown out by Scudero and moves Kubel up to third on the play.
Good positioning right there by Marco Scudero. That ball hit the mound and looked like it was easily going to go into center field for that 100th RBI, but Marco Scudero, who's been playing a great shortstop all season long, positions himself beautifully. That's right under the glove of Ricky Romero, but right at Scudero. Infield will come in now with just 1 out. Already down by 3 runs. They don't want to give up any more.
Michael Goodire struck out when he faced Romero in the first inning, and there's a good pitch to get strike 1. You were saying how this is not the level to learn the game at, and you and I have talked about this before. That's why you tend to think that it's better sometimes to draft a high school player than it is a college player.
Unless the college player's off the charts.
Right.
Like a Strasburg.
Yeah, like an Evan Longoria or something.
Longoria, someone who's a late bloomer and then he's off the charts after he goes to college. So
because the high school player is a little more raw.
Raw, and you teach him to play the game your way. Okay? I also tend to believe that when high school pitchers go to college coaches, you know, 2 things can happen to them and they're both bad. They can pitch them a lot.
They want to win.
Which they do, and they want to win. Right. So they are not going to look out for the best interest of that kid's arm. They're looking to win games. But if you sign as a professional player in the minor leagues, they're going to look out for you, and they're going to teach you, and they're going to help you, and they're going to guard you. And you get that aluminum bat out of the hands of those hitters. I mean, that has been the hardest thing for the game of baseball in the last 30 years or so. I mean, you make a good pitch with a guy hitting with an aluminum bat, and instead of a broken bat or off the end or something, or you jam him, he rips the ball down the line because of that thing.
Grounded to third. And Encarnacion finishes off Harris. So they prevent Kubel from coming in, but Kubel drives in 2. Minnesota's up 3-0. The great weather begins to come to a close before the Blue Jays jump on a plane and head for the road.
They hope.
They hope a plane. I've been hearing they might be busing to Detroit. So that game tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. BlueJays.com has tickets. You can call the box office. 416-341-1234 is the number, as Raul Chavez, who's made an exceptional play tonight, picking off Denard Span at third in the first inning, gets his first at bat.
We were talking to Cito Gaston before the game, and we were asking him, has Raul Chavez become the personal catcher for Ricky Romero? And he says, no, it has just worked out that way, that Chavez's turn has come up when Romero's been on the mound.
His turn has come up the last 4 starts for Romero.
So he says he likes Barajas tomorrow with Halladay, and then he says Chavez will catch again on Thursday, the day game after a night game.
It might be that Halladay likes to have Barajas behind the plate. We don't know that, but
Yeah.
Romero always starts in front of Roy. At least he does lately.
I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them.
No.
The way they receive the ball, the way they catch it, the games that they call, and the way they throw, they're both very active behind the plate. I think they have gotten very good defense from their catchers this year.
It's funny how that can be a problem with some clubs. You heard stories recently about A.J. Burnett and Jorge Posada not seeing eye to eye with the Yankees. It crops up from time to time.
Randy Johnson had problems with Jorge Posada in New York. But it's not just calling games or anything like that. That's a big part of it. I like how active they are, and they block balls and they throw well. And Chavez, for him, he's swinging the bat really well.
Is he ever? He gets the Blue Jays' second base hit of the night. The Blue Jays now have 3 catchers on their active roster, as Kyle Phillips was called up just today. And if he looks familiar, that is Jason Phillips' younger brother. Jason Phillips caught with the Blue Jays for a while. He's now the bullpen coach with the Seattle Mariners. And that one caused me to do a double take when we got to Safeco Field. I ran into him in the clubhouse and I said, Jason Phillips, is that you?
Did he have his black glasses, goggles on?
He didn't have them on as John McDonald steps in with a man on first, nobody out. But I guess he went to camp with the Mariners and didn't make the club. And they said, well, we do need a bullpen coach. Are you available? And he said, I guess I am.
Nice transition.
Second baseman John McDonald. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And it's sent to center field and falls into the mitt of Denard Span. He hit it on the screws, but he hit it right at Span.
That's one thing I've noticed about Johnny Mac this year, that he's standing up in there and he's not massaging the baseball. He's taking a nice, healthy cut. Had a home run, a couple of doubles. I remember down in Tampa, had a very good game on a getaway day. Watch how covers this ball, but just doesn't have enough oomph to get it over Span's head.
Marcos Scutaro is the batter. He lined out to right field in the first inning. Strike one from Dunsink, who made his first big league start on July 29th against the White Sox. You made the point earlier, Pat, that the Twins don't elevate pitchers from one level to the next unless they're absolutely certain that they're ready to make that jump. And you've often said that one-loss records in the minor leagues have to be thrown right out the window as Scutaro fouls that one back. It's 0-2. Well, here's a guy on the mound pitching in the big leagues who was 5-11 last year in AAA. So once again, there are all kinds of reasons, I know you have them, for not taking minor league records that seriously.
numbers don't do anything in the minor leagues when it comes to one-loss records. I mean, why did you lose? You might have 5 or 6 errors in one game, depending on who your shortstop is.
Here's Cabrera, touches the bag, throws to first, gets the double play, and gets a quick inning for his pitcher. Minnesota's on top 3-0. You're watching the Blue Jays on Rogers Sportsnet.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Welcome to Toronto. Boy, you joined the Leafs and they give you the cozy seats, I see.
Yeah, these are pretty nice. I mean, this is like, doesn't get better than this. It's almost like watching from your living room, but on the field.
I hope you brought a glove because a baseball has been known to head its
That's what
head
they
that
said.
way.
I'm missing a mouthpiece and maybe Toscola's glove.
Well, Mike joins us to talk about the upcoming season with the Maple Leafs as we watch Ricky Romero work the 4th inning against Delman Young, Mike Redmond, and Nick Punto. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler tonight, and boy, it's incredible how quickly the summer's gone. Hockey season is right around the bend.
Yeah, it's a exciting time of year.
And you're with the Montreal Canadiens' arch rival, the sworn enemy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
It's right down the street here.
I know money talks, but you had to know when you signed the deal to leave the Canadiens and join the Maple Leafs, you knew what you were doing.
It came down to a few teams, but oh, geez, it's right over our heads here. It was important to play in a traditional hockey market. I really liked the direction and the the vision that Burke had for this team, and being a physical player. I mean, he wants to be he wants his team to have that mean streak in them and be tough to play against. So I go from one passionate hockey city to the next. I mean, I didn't grow up in Canada, but being a U.S. kid, I have that passion for hockey, and I think if you ask any young hockey player out there, if they had a chance to play either for the Habs or the Leafs, they'd take it in a heartbeat. So I'm looking forward to it.
There's a base hit for Delman Young to left field, and he's on here in the 4th inning. In the 4 innings, the lead runner has managed to get aboard each time against Ricky Romero. Our guest here is Mike Komisarek of the Maple Leafs, and you were raised on Long Island.
Yeah, born and raised not too far from the Nassau Coliseum where the Islanders play.
Now, did you catch many baseball games growing up in that area?
A few Mets games here and there, but our dentist actually had season tickets to Islander games, so that was like my first experiences going to those games. And hockey was the last sport I picked up on, but absolutely fell in love with it. Being a big, physical, rough kid, I didn't do well playing baseball with that size.
I was speaking not long ago as we look at Mike Redmond, the catcher, with Jason Bay, who plays for the Boston Red Sox. He was traded from the Pirates to the Red Sox last year, and he said he cannot make a move in Boston without somebody noticing and having his name end up in the newspaper. Is that what it's like to play for the Montreal Canadiens?
It definitely was. I mean, they don't have any other big sports teams there. No baseball.
Hey, the Alouettes.
Careful
are there.
Alouettes, but the people in that city live and die by the hockey team. So, they're rabid hockey fans, and everyone's great. I mean, everyone was great there. Everyone's very respectful. You're out to dinner, you're out at the movies or something. Everyone will come and shake your hand and wish you luck. So, a lot of great memories there. But looking forward to a new challenge here in Toronto.
Hey, Mike, I heard you were on hand for the new practice facility that opened up.
Yeah, place is pretty nice. I mean, it's nice to see the commitment that the organization is putting into the team, and giving us all the tools that we need to succeed. And it's great for the Leafs organization, but it's also good for the locally the hockey programs and different teams are in the area. I mean, it's great to promote that and sort of get back to the grassroots level.
I'll warn you, don't be shocked if Justin Morneau, the first baseman for the Twins, comes over and gives you the business, because he's a huge Vancouver Canucks fan.
Oh, really? Yeah, we're
yeah.
talking about it. He had a good at-bat there in the first or second, I think. So
You might hear from him.
yeah, that'd be pretty neat. That'd definitely be pretty neat. A couple of the guys came out and took batting practice not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, so that was pretty neat. Missed that. But
Were you a baseball player?
I started off playing Little League Baseball. Doing that, didn't last very long, but played baseball, basketball, soccer, and then hockey was the last sport I picked up on, and just absolutely fell in love with it. So, here we go.
There's a tapper to Scudero. McDonald
Nice
goes
play.
to first. They finish the double play and get a couple of outs.
Did you say hockey was the last sport that you picked up?
Yeah,
and you're a
absolutely.
professional now?
I mean, you see in the kids now that they're playing. As soon as they start walking, they're on their skates and playing hockey. But I didn't pick it up. I played street hockey, but I didn't start playing until about 9 or 10 years old.
I see you got the kid Luke Shen sitting to your right.
Yeah.
And who's that on your left?
That's Garnet Exelby, another defenseman.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, a couple of the D's this year. So we got to hang together. Vesa.
Good.
We asked
Hey.
Vesa to come out, but he couldn't make it. So
Team bonding. You're the new
yeah,
guy.
absolutely. Defensemen and goalies, we always stick together. So those forwards.
Hey, Garnett's busy, I see.
Yeah, he's he's working hard.
Are the Olympics in the plans?
Absolutely.
With the United States team, Pat.
Well, I'm from the United States.
I know.
That's why I asked.
I'm giving it to you both.
I have somebody to watch.
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry to interrupt.
No, absolutely. I think we all strive as professionals to be the best at what we do, and your goal as a player is not to win a Stanley Cup. You dream about it when you're younger, but to have an opportunity to represent your country, represent all those small people in your hometown, all the coaches and aunts, uncles that helped you get to games and practices when you're younger, to sort of put on that USA sweater and represent all those people and play on the Olympic level and have a chance to win a gold medal. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. So.
Well, and that miracle team from 1980 had such a huge impact on so many American hockey players, but you weren't even born then, I guess.
No, I was born in '82, but I heard about it, read about it, watched the movie millions of times, so I know all about it like the back of my hand. So
I remember it too. It was awesome.
yeah, I mean it's
It
similar.
was really awesome.
Similar situation. The country is going through a tough time, and now we, there's turmoil in our country and in the world now, and it'd be nice to, go out there, represent the country, and bring back a gold.
Well, good luck.
Yeah.
I'll be
Thanks very
watching
much.
you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
We'll be looking for tickets, Mike.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thanks for joining us. That's Mike Commissary.
Thanks,
It's
guys.
the Twins leading 3-0. Sportsnet. Beautiful pictures and a great meal being served down in the concessions area as Brian Dunsing is carving up Blue Jay hitters right now. He's allowed just 2 hits and faces the number 2 hitter, Jose Bautista, here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Changing speeds. You can tell he doesn't throw very hard, but he has a very good idea of what he wants to do. That fastball just 88 miles an hour, but it's in a good spot down and away to Bautista.
This is ripped to right, and that's trouble. It gets down and up against the wall as Bautista storms for second base. A good throw in from Kadire, but it's late. And the Blue Jays have an extra base hit.
Kadire leads this team in outfield assists, a converted infielder. He's got 5 outfield assists. It's accurate and it's quick. I didn't think he had any shot at getting Jose Bautista at second base when this ball comes down, way down the right field line. But Bautista's watching it and now realizing it's going to be fair. That's why the play was a little bit closer than we thought it was going to be. Kadire's going to dig it out quickly on one bounce and then a strong throw back into the infield.
Into scoring position goes Bautista. Up to the plate comes Adam Lind, who is tied with Aaron Hill for the team lead in RBIs with 94. He's got a few days then to try and take the lead here on Hill, who will be absent from the team. It is time for a Rogers Fast Fact, brought to you by Canada's fastest mobile network, 3 times faster than any other. Did you know that Adam Lind leads the big leagues with 71 2-strike hits?
You can't be afraid to swing the bat with 2 strikes.
And he's not.
No, he's not, and he takes the same approach if it's 1 strike, 2 strikes, whatever. He has been so consistent the whole season long, staying within his comfort zone and being himself, not trying to be somebody that he is not. And that is just a guy who can put good wood on the ball anywhere around the field.
Lynn told me today that he begins his workouts for next season the day after the World Series ends. And so he said, I like it when it goes 7 games.
Yeah. The added playoff round.
There's a cut and a miss, so he strikes out.
The extra round of playoffs helps, right?
So that will be early November for Lynn this year.
Guys nowadays, they can work out year round, and it's so much better. The equipment to work out, the knowledge of which muscles you need to train. Everything is just so much better.
Spring training is no longer for getting in shape.
You don't need, you need maybe a week to 10 days of spring training now, because you come in shape.
Hit hard to third. Harris has it. He throws out Wells, and Bautista still stuck at second.
A lot of players spend a lot of time in the wintertime going to these camps or these workouts. Well, gosh, I don't even know what you would call those, like academies, workout
training academies,
training
sure.
academies. Manny Ramirez, Dustin Pedroia, Kevin Youkilis, all the big hitters, and they train on certain muscle groups and certain exercises for baseball players. I mean, it's fascinating.
Scott Richmond, who had to go down to, he told me, Los Angeles most of the winter, not taking anything to chance. He didn't want to avoid or didn't want to pass up on an opportunity to make a big league rotation. He went down and got himself in shape with some training gurus down in L.A.
Really?
Yeah. Even the guys that are making minimum salary do it.
Good for him. I know Vernon Wells spent the winter, at least that's what we heard, working out with a personal trainer and came into spring training in great shape.
There's Ruiz again. He takes that pitch for a strike from Dunsing. The left-hander sets. Here comes the pitch, and it's tapped back to the pitcher. He plays it to first to get Ruiz, and the leadoff double by Bautista goes to waste here in the fourth. We've played 4. It's the Twins 3, the Blue Jays no score. His Care Foundation and his newly formed Vernon Wells Perfect 10 Foundation. Voting ends October 4th, so cast your vote at BlueJays.com. Vernon is very involved as the honorary commissioner of Rookie League. Spends a lot of time with kids, lending advice on making positive decisions and donating his time. So a just reward for Vernon as he's nominated for the 2009 Roberto Clemente Award, which combines a dedication to giving back to the community with outstanding skills on the baseball field. Fifth inning here in Toronto, and the Twins lead 3-0. Denard Span has done his share of damage with a pair of doubles and a run scored.
Hard to defend someone like Denard Span when he can spray the ball around. His first double scraped the left field line. So you shift your outfield around, and what does he do his next time up? Rips one down the right field line.
He seems to have one of the better two-strike hacks in the game, doesn't he?
Emergency. He waits on it very long. He waits a long time and lets it get deep. I'm sure he has hit a lot of balls right at the third baseman with 2 strikes. So Edwin Encarnacion will back up. He was in guarding against the bunt.
A 1-2 and a late swing as Span gets jammed. Taken 20th overall by the Twins in the 0-2 draft from a Tampa Bay high school. And debuted with this club last year. There's a late swing again, and this time he strikes out, so he's 2 for 3.
Ricky has had trouble against left-handed batters this year. No trouble there against Span as he puts him away with a good curveball. Lefties are hitting over 300 against Ricky Romero, which is a surprise when you watch his stuff and you watch him work. He's got a good breaking ball, good sharp curveball, and a good changeup. Right-handers just 262.
Orlando Cabrera now takes ball one. Here's a member of the Red Sox World Series championship team in 2004. He parlayed that into a big contract with the Los Angeles Angels. One and one as Romero deals. And there's Encarnacion. He's got to get it quickly to first. Waiting for that bouncer to come down. And Romero has the first two out here in the fifth inning.
He's had three different plays. Has Edwin Encarnacion, a short hop and now a big hop. That one gets up in the lights, but he makes it flawlessly. Came over from the Reds for Scott Rowland, and you know everybody is going to be comparing him to Scott Rowland defensively, and that's really not fair for a young player.
No.
You can't do that. But his athleticism is there, his feet and his hands and his ability to catch the ball look like they're there.
Jason Kubel had the damaging blow in the third, a two-run double to extend Minnesota's lead. He's behind in the count 0-2 here. Chavez wants this pitch low, and that one is away, 1-2.
To me, Jamie, it looks like Ricky Romero has found his release point on his curveball. The last few innings, he has dropped some dandies where he gets the hitter freezing, kind of buckling their knees a little bit.
Breaking ball, a bouncer.
Good one there, but Kubel doesn't bite on it.
Grounds it to second. McDonald scoops it off the turf and throws him out. And Ricky Romero gets a 1-2-3 fifth. Many good days left, so now might be a good time to think about coming down and joining us for an afternoon game. And Thursday they wrap up this series with a matinee affair that begins just past 1 o'clock. Scott Baker goes against Brett Cecil, and that one Cecil makes his final start of the 2009 season.
There's been some changes in the starting pitching for the Blue Jays the last couple of months now.
It's a whole new look from when things started back in April.
Well, we got a shot of David Percy, who came up, and he's here now They all got here. Well, it looked like it was about
5:30.
Yeah, 5:30, 6 o'clock.
That's a long flight from Las Vegas.
And Percy will start one of those games, according to Cito Gaston.
And it looks like it'll be Tuesday's game in New York. It appears that he'll fall in line to get a start at Yankee Stadium on Tuesday in a quick 2-game set with the Yankees. This one's hit high in the air into shallow center field. Span races in and makes the catch. Millar's gone, one away.
That start you were talking about with Brett Cecil will be his last of the season. That's necessitating all the changes in the starting rotation. There's Cecil.
So he'll go Thursday. Brian Tallett opens the series on Friday in Detroit. Here's Encarnacion, the third baseman, who grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up. He flies this to right. Kadire comes in, and he's got Encarnacion 2 down.
You know, if the Twins have any thoughts of getting into the playoffs, and I think they have a shot because they know how to win late in the season. They've done it for a long time. The starting pitching has to continue to pitch as well as they have. Over their last 16 games, their pitching staff's ERA is under 3, Jamie, and they showed it last night or yesterday afternoon. Manship struggled in his 5 innings, but then when he turned it over to the bullpen, shut down baseball. Dunsink tonight looks good. They picked up Carl Pavano to help them.
That game in Kansas City between the Tigers and Royals is just underway, and the Tigers jumped out to a 1-0 lead after 1. Here's Chavez, 1 ball and 1 strike. Yesterday, Ron Gardenhire would have liked to have gotten Manship through 5 innings, but when your team's in contention, you can't mess around.
Simply for his first big league win, you know, and the win did not go to a pitcher who finished 5 innings. It actually went to Jesse Crane, who threw an inning and a third, faced 4 batters and had 3 strikeouts. But it can be done with a good nucleus of players, and if you get good pitching, they have done it before. Looking at 2006, they were a few games out late in the season, and they caught and got into the playoffs with a 19th ranked payroll. They won the World Series in '91 with a 16th ranked payroll. So it can be done when you make smart decisions and you draft well and you bring players and you have a philosophy. You can bring it to the big leagues. You can do it. Success on a small budget. That's their last 5 playoff seasons. 4 times this decade they've been into the playoffs. You know, and those records aren't the records that we have seen other teams get into the playoffs with 84 or 85 wins. I mean, they won 96 games in 2006 and 92. 2002 they won 94 games. So it can be done.
And remember last year they played a 1-game tiebreaker to determine who would get into the postseason and lost to the Chicago White Sox. They actually lost a coin flip to determine where the game would be played. It ended up being staged at U.S. Cellular Field, and they lost the game 1-0.
And they have lost their share of big stars from their team over the years also. Johan Santana and Torrey Hunter come to mind.
Dunsing with the 3-2 pitch to Chavez, and he walks him. Chavez has been on base twice. He singled in the third, now walks with 2 out here in the 5th inning, and John McDonald will get a chance to hit with a man on.
Well, that hurts because he wanted to have that 1-2-3 inning and get John McDonald to lead off next inning. But the Jays will take it. Johnny Mac's going to try and bring around Chavez.
To center field, a blooper, and it drops. A base hit for McDonald. In limited time this year, McDonald has done a nice job of producing.
Hit the ball hard his first time up. It didn't have anything to show for it. This time, just off the end of the bat. And he will get a base hit. Right in front of Span, and now Scudero has a chance to break through. Just the 4th hit of the night for the Blue Jays.
Scudero takes a practice swing because Mike Redmond's gone out to the hill to speak with Dunsing. There hasn't been much to cheer about with respect to the Blue Jays tonight, but here's a chance for them with a couple of base runners.
His last 2 starts have been great. He faced a Texas Rangers team, and we all know about the Texas Rangers, how well they can hit the ball. 7 innings, just gave up 1 earned run. He had a career-high 8 strikeouts.
This is hit to left center field, and there is Span catching up to it. A long fly out for Scudero ends the 5th. And after 5 innings of play, it's the Twins 3, the Blue Jays no score. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. As we lead off the 6th inning with Ricky Romero facing Justin Morneau. And here are the numbers after 5 innings of work between our respective starting pitchers.
We talked at the outset of this game that there are 2 rookie left-handers going in opposite directions. Ricky Romero's last 2 have not been very good. Ryan Dunsing's last 2 have been very, very good. But they are locked up here tonight. Dunsing is throwing shutout baseball, and Ricky Romero, after a rough first inning, has really settled in. His curveball has been very good the last couple of innings.
He faces Justin Morneau, who lines this one to right field on the first pitch and lines out to Bautista, one down. In the game tonight, Romero has 4 strikeouts. His season's totals up to 115. That's second most among American League rookies. Oakland's Brett Anderson is atop that list with 125.
Ricky is all over the rookie numbers board. You just mentioned the strikeout. Now with 115. He is third in wins by a rookie.
There are 2 rookie pitchers with 12 victories. Tampa Bay's Jeff Neiman and Detroit's Rick Porcello, who's pitching tonight in Kansas City.
You know, but the number that I like for Ricky Romero, he is second amongst rookies in earned run average. I think that's the true barometer for any pitcher, earned run. His average is second amongst the rookies. It's still good.
Among Blue Jay rookies, 11 victories is right up there. Mark Eichhorn in '86 had 14. And whatever happened to Gustavo Chacin? 13 wins in '05, at that time tying Josh Towers for the team lead. Of course, in a year where Roy Halladay left midway through the season with a broken leg.
Hurt his arm, missed some time the next couple of years, and now is finishing up the season in AAA with Philadelphia.
Here's Scudero, who gets it quickly to first, but not in time to get Kadire.
If he could have thrown that ball, and that's a set play by Marco Scudero, if he could have thrown the ball on one hop, he would have gotten Michael Kadire. But because the ball took 2 bounces, it really slowed down the velocity of the ball going over to first base. Here's one, and then that second one slowed down, and that allowed Kadire to beat it out for an infield single. We've seen Scudero do that all season long. When he has to go to his right, go in the hole, he can bounce it over there.
Brendan Harris now digs in and awaits the pitch from Romero. 1 out, top of the 6th inning. And Kadire's at first. You know, Marco Scudero might just win a Gold Glove award this year.
I agree. I looked up some of his numbers this year, and where does he rank in the American League for shortstops and fielding percentage and all the other numbers? Well, he's first in total chances with 588 coming into this game. First in double plays created by a shortstop with 95. He's the only shortstop in the American League with 400 assists. The only one. He leads in fielding percentage, and he's committed the fewest errors of 7. So you're right. A Gold Glove is a possibility for Marco Scudero.
Now watch him here when he brings his glove up and either opens his mouth or looks over at John McDonald and keeps it closed.
He is telling Johnny Mack who is going to be covering.
There, closed mouth, and the throw is over to first.
He is going to get that. He's going to look into the catcher, and he's going to see the sign, and based on who's hitting and what the pitch is, he's going to determine who should cover second base on a steal attempt. Opened is usually the shortstop. Opened is me, and closed is you. Teams change it. That can be different. You watch a baseball game, and there are more signs that go on out there than you would believe. The whole game is about, flashing signs to everyone. The manager to the catcher, the manager to the third base coach, the catcher to the pitcher, the infielders. Infielders also give signs verbally to the corner infielders to let them know when an off-speed pitch is coming. I mean, there's so many different things that go on.
And it tells you why these players have to be involved at all times. They have to be paying attention.
You can't fall asleep.
With every pitch man at first. You've got Scudero and McDonald making these signs back to one another. Romero deals, and it's hit right to McDonald, and they are able to double up the man at first base. Harris throws away his helmet in disgust as he lines out. Kadyr's cut off the bag, and they get a very quick double play. Bing, bang, and boom. Still 3-0 Minnesota. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. TV now bring you their best picture yet. Aquos LED, the evolution of LCD TV continues. To enter and find out more, visit the website hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. That's a long one. www.hitahomerunwithsharp.ca.
Jose Bautista hit a home run last night.
Yes, he did. In the 5th inning. So we missed by 1 in giving away an Aquos LED. He shoots that one right up the middle. It bounces over second base into center field. And Bautista is 2 for 3. One of the final giveaways of the year is fast approaching. And that is Sunday, September the 27th. The first 10,000 fans receive a Blue Jays fleece blanket. It's a good-looking blanket, too, presented by Home Hardware. The Blue Jays take on the Mariners that day, a 1 o'clock start. Here's Lynn, base hit, and a leaping Bautista avoids the baseball. And there is athleticism. He's paying attention. Lynn has a knock. And the Blue Jays are in business here. Their first 2 are aboard.
Yeah,
Watch this.
You have to pay attention if you're the runner. That ball hits him, and it's an out. But he avoids that line drive by Lynn. Can't move up just to second base. And the Jays are in business. 2 singles to open the 6th inning.
Hits number 5 and 6 on the night for the Jays. As Dunsing looks in on Mike Redmond. And he sees Vernon Wells at the plate now. The Jays are 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. It's fouled back.
Just like that, the tying run comes to the plate. In his last start, Dunsing threw 7 innings. It only took him 88 pitches. You can see why he throws lots of strikes. He's always around the plate. He was really helped in that game by the double play. Minnesota Twins turned 4 double plays in that game, and he actually left with the lead 2-0.
1 ball and 1 strike on Wells here with 2 on. We'd like to say happy birthday, a 67th celebration to Mike James. He's watching in Emsdale, Ontario tonight. That's just north of Huntsville. And watching as Vernon Wells waggles the bat. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dunsing sets at the letters. Here's the pitch, and this one's out of play. So Wells falls behind, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Blue Jays find themselves here in the 6th inning, down 3-0. They lost the opener yesterday 6-3. Wells has 2 aboard with nobody out. Smack and foul. You know, I mentioned this during the broadcast yesterday that the Blue Jays are the only team in the majors with a losing record right now, and yet they've scored more runs than they've given up. Did you know that only one team in the history of the American League has ever finished with more runs scored than given up and a losing record? And that was the 1918 Chicago White Sox. The Blue Jays certainly have a chance of doing that.
Under 500, but you score more than you give up.
Yeah. Now, sometimes we follow the foul balls, and watch this one. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Look at you can't pull it out of a guy's glove. Look at him. That's my ball.
Free for all, man.
Yeah. Breaking ball misses. I like his sense of humor at the very least. What was 1-2 is now 3-2. Here comes the payoff. Do you start the runners to stay out of a double play here?
I don't like it with nobody out at first and second trying to start the runners, simply because if Vernon Wells hits a line drive right at one of the infielders, you're out of the inning. This is your best chance right here to score a run.
And if it's a middle infielder, it could end up as a triple play.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You get out of the inning in one pitch.
There is a giant in the Twins bullpen. That's John Roush.
I'm always for being very aggressive on the bases no matter what the situation. But this is not one of them right here. You've got a guy who can leave the yard. You don't want to run into outs.
He draws a walk and loads up the bases. So a nice at bat for Vernon Wells. Up comes Ron Gardenhire, and he'll go to Roush. He's not messing around. Can't afford to. In fact, they're behind the Tigers by 6.5 games. They need to win ball games and win lots of them. So Gardenhire goes to the pen. Roush will come in, and the Twins make a change. We'll be back on Rogers Sportsnet.
And Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
A night game here in Toronto, and the Blue Jays are down 3-0, though they have the bases loaded here in the 6th. And remember that show, The Addams Family, and the big lurch would come to the door? Here's the Major League version. That is 6'11", 290-pound John Roush.
Tallest player in Major League history. John Roush was picked up from the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Twins were looking to trade for Roush since the All-Star break, but nothing came together until he was placed on waivers by the D-backs. The Twins came calling, and they added a big arm in their bullpen. Comes right after you, and they are glad they have him. He has pitched 4 shutout innings since being acquired on August 28th. He's given up just 3 hits, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Comes right over the top with a fastball.
Facing Randy Ruiz. There's a breaking ball. It's 1-1. Roush came up with the White Sox in 2002. Played briefly with the Montreal Expos, and for that matter, the Edmonton Trappers in 2004. Spent a great deal of time with Washington. Finds himself back in the American League, and here's Ruiz with a blast, center field. Span is over, he makes the catch. Bautista tags, and the Blue Jays are on the board. They cut the lead to 2.
If you're going to pitch up there, and Roush can pitch up there with his fastball when he comes over the top, he creates a very interesting angle being so tall. But if you're going to pitch up there, you have to have a good fastball. When Ruiz hit this ball, I thought he got it. But you could tell from the replay that it got in on him just a little bit, and Span can run it down for out number 1.
Ball 1 to Kevin Millar. Millar is 1 for 2. And awaits the Roush delivery. He blows it past him, 1-1. Roush pitched for the United States in the Sydney Summer Olympics in 2000. And I know this because I talked to him in the clubhouse before the game. He's got a giant set of Olympic rings tattooed on his right arm. He's well painted. And he deals the 1-1, and that hits the dirt, smothered by Redmond. Redmond gets the start behind home plate tonight. Joe Mauer gets a night off. The Jays have 2 on. Wells at first, Lind at second. Ball 3 from Roush. Redmond's a little shaken up.
Yeah. Did you see anything happen there?
I didn't. Look at Roush look down and say, "Are you okay?" Practically had to bend down and find out.
Looking at the hand area. When he went into the dirt, did he bend his fingers back?
He may have. And like the Jays, they have 3 catchers on staff. Mauer's been given the night off. And they've also got a pretty decent backup in Jose Morales. Well, he appears ready to go. Ball 4. So Roush loses Millar. The bases are loaded again. And Encarnacion strolls to the plate. Let's look again and see if you can see anything here.
Ball is going to be in the dirt by Roush. You know, we don't know if he's been hurt when he came into this series, his hand or anything like that. No one gave us an indication of that. But he was pointing to his glove hand.
So here's the situation. Encarnacion up, bases loaded. A big, healthy cut from the third baseman, and that's strike one.
If you were sitting on a breaking ball first pitch, go ahead and swing at it like that. But to me, it looked like Encarnacion was looking for a fastball. Why even swing at that breaking ball in the dirt? Wasn't ready for that curveball from Roush, the first pitch.
There's a curveball, and he swings and misses again.
In a better attempt at it right there, knowing with one strike he might come back with it. But he dug himself a hole by swinging at that first one.
And now he's got to change his outlook a little bit.
He's got to shorten it up a little bit. Think about the whole field, maybe. Think about hitting it right over his head. That might be a 7-foot line drive.
Fastball outside.
Sometimes hitters are just better with 2 strikes, that their approach seems to be a little bit better. They know they have 2 strikes, and then they know they have to make contact.
Shot to third, and that handcuffs Harris and rolls into left field. Lynn comes in, so does Wells, and this game is all tied. That bullet ate up the third baseman, and because of it, it's a tie ball game.
You know, and Encarnacion learned by the third breaking ball how to approach it. The first one was not very good. The second one was a little bit better, and now the third time he goes to that breaking ball, he stays back that time and he hits it hard, and it just eats up Brendan Harris at third base right off the seam and out in the left field for a 2-run single. Ron Gardenhire had all of his players out here yesterday taking batting practice before a day game, saying that this is a very tricky field for teams to come in here and play off this turf. That time that ball hit a seam and just shot off of Brendan Harris.
RBIs number 6 and 7 with the Jays for Encarnacion. And that bullet ties the ball game at 3. Chavez takes strike 2. Kevin Millar advances to second on the play. So the Blue Jays have runners at first and second. Chavez the batter here. John McDonald's on deck. Roush sets, and that's in the dirt. He gets jammed and flies to left field. Young has a read on the ball, and Chavez is out. And with 2 down, John McDonald will come up. So here comes Johnny Mack, who dumped a single into center field in the 5th. And he approaches the plate knowing there are 2 men on base. And he lifts this one to left field, and that's well here. That ball is out of here. How about John McDonald with a 3-run home run?
We were talking his first time up that his approach at the plate has been a little bit stronger and a little bit more forceful, a little bit more aggressive, not feeling for the ball. He jumps all over this pitch and hits it hard. 2 home runs now for McDonald on the season, not wasting any time, and he just rips it. Takes a good, healthy hack at it. Plenty of distance. The only question was it going to stay fair? It certainly does, and just like that, the Jays have gone up 6-3. Aaron who? No way, Aaron. Get that away, Johnny Mac.
There's a cut from Scudero 0-2. Well, thanks to McDonald's home run, Sharp has awarded one lucky contestant a 40-inch Sharp Aquos LCD TV with LED backlight. Aquos LED, the evolution of LCD TV continues. To see if you've won, please visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca, and that's hit sharply to left as Scudero keeps the line moving with a base hit. For McDonald, his second home run of the season. He now has 7 runs driven in. Ron Gardenhire makes his way out to the mound yet again.
Well, for as good as John Roush pitched in his 4 other games, this one he's going to have to forget.
In comes Bobby Keppel. We'll address the change when we continue.
Jays.com for your chance to win an all-expense-paid trip to see the Jays in comfort. TD Canada Trust, putting you in the comfort zone.
Here's Bobby Keppel taking over for John Roush, and he comes up with a man on. 6 runs have scored for the Jays. They've jumped out to a 6-3 lead here in the 6th inning, and Pat, as you know, the bullpen for the Twins was solid in a victory in yesterday's game. Here, Roush gives up 3, and now the Twins are behind. Bautista cuts. Scudero is headed down to second, and he steals easily. Number 11 this year for Marco.
Don't waste any time. Remember, Redmond went out to the mound with that hand problem. Blue Jays take advantage of that. Scudero steals second base easily. Chance now for Bautista to knock him in. He's had a couple of hits already tonight.
Bautista got this inning started with a base hit to center field. He lays off that pitch. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bautista singled. Lynn singled behind him. Wells walked to load the bases with none out against Brian Dunsing.
That was the big at bat. Remember, he was down 2 strikes and worked a walk. That was a big one to set this inning up.
This one is fouled away. And so Wells was able to draw that walk, load him up. Gardenhire made the change and brought in John Roush, who got a deep fly ball out of Ruiz that cashed a run. But then Roush walked Millar, gave up a bullet of a single to Encarnacion, and that drove in 2. And then with 2 on, John McDonald hit just his 2nd home run of the year, and that's why it's 6-3. 2 strikes on Bautista. That's low.
They've made Mike Redmond work in this inning behind the plate.
Oh, wow. Bautista gets jelly-legged by that breaking ball from Keppel, and that strikeout ends the inning, but the Blue Jays score 6 times. They fashion a big inning. And they can thank John McDonald, who goes deep. And as we head for the 7th inning, it's 6-3 for the Blue Jays. Oh, it must be Frosh Week. That was so long ago. What a great time for the students going back to school from nearby universities like Ryerson and the U of T. Coming down to the ballpark on a brilliant night, hanging out with friends and watching the Blue Jays, who now lead 6-3. And surely Ricky Romero is grateful for the offensive support shown, as his team scores 6 times in the bottom of 6. That breaking ball gets away from Chavez. Romero up there facing the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, and Delman Young, Mike Redmond, and Nick Punto.
Don't change anything the way you've been pitching since the 3rd inning. You've attacked early and then put them away. Don't think about anything. Don't think about, oh, now I have the lead, I have to pitch differently. Just stay within yourself. You're facing the bottom 3rd of the order. Get through this one, and everything will be fine. Romero is the type of pitcher, as the game goes along, there's another tough play for Encarnacion.
Oh, my. That's a bad hop, and he made it into a wonderful play.
He had one of those against Nick Punto in the 1st inning where he had to come in and short hop it. This time he's got to catch it on the short hop on the backhand and then throw while he is running away from first base. That's a great play.
That's a Roland-esque play.
Sure is. Shows you type of athleticism that Encarnacion has. Brian Butterfield says, he's got good feet, he has good hands, could be a good fielder. Watch the angle where he has to catch and throw from. Across the diamond and on target for Millar. But Ricky Romero is the type of pitcher, as the game wears on, actually gets stronger, Jamie. You look at his numbers, pitches 61 through 75, batters are hitting just 208 against him. So when he finds it in spades.
Here's Redmond. Taken by McDonald. And he makes the play. Nice defense from Johnny Mac 2.
We've said that a few times over the years when John McDonald is out there.
He's manning second base tonight, as Aaron Hill is likely roaming the halls of a hospital right now, holding on to his brand new baby daughter, while Lindsay gets a little rest. And once again, our congratulations out to the Hill family. Here's Nick Punto. The second baseman is 0 for 2.
Tried to overthrow that one. Still throwing hard at 93. Here in the 7th inning, he is approaching 100 pitches. When he threw 8 innings against Minnesota, his second start of the year, it took him 106 pitches. Gave up 8 hits and just 2 earned runs.
Here comes the changeup.
Good idea there. We talked at the opening that commanding the fastball and commanding the strike zone is very important for Ricky Romero. Well, he has turned the corner there tonight. He has that one walk. That was the third batter of the game. Jason Kubel walked, and he hasn't walked anybody since. That's an excellent sign. When he's throwing strikes, he is really tough to hit. Because he has 2 types of breaking balls that he can throw for strikes, and he can use them for strikeout pitches. And if you sit on those with 2 strikes, he can buzz that fastball 92, 93, even 94 miles an hour when he's strong, right by you.
Punto's fouling one after the other away as he battles Romero 3-2. Chavez behind the plate ponders the situation. As for the fastball, it's low and it's ball 4. Romero has thrown 103 pitches now, and out comes Cito Gaston. He looks into the bullpen in left field, asks for the left-hander, with Denard Span announced as the hitter. And so Jesse Carlson throws his last warm-up pitch and will enter the game, replacing Ricky Romero, who leaves after 6 2/3 with a 6-3 lead. play against the Seattle Mariners, then one lucky fan in attendance wins $1 million. And in fact, Erickson will donate $1 million to the Jays Care Foundation as well. So you might be the lucky person if the Blue Jays turn a triple play, on September the 25th, when the Mariners face the Blue Jays in the Erickson Triple Play Challenge.
Here comes Jesse Carlson for the 64th time. That's tied for 5th most in the American League. He leads this team in holds with 9. Left on left situation. His job is to get spam and then turn it over to the rest of the bullpen the rest of the way out. Threw against these Minnesota Twins yesterday. Had a very clean inning, 1 inning, giving up just 1 hit.
2 balls, no strikes on Span. Ricky Romero leaves after walking the number 9 hitter Nick Punto. He's at first, and there are 2 out here in the 7th inning. Romero to this point allows 3 runs over 6 2/3. He gave up 7 hits, struck out 4 and walked 3. The last walk chased him from the ball game as Carlson sets. Here's the 2-1. It's slashed foul by Span.
That's a big pitch here. 2-2. You don't want to go to 3-2 as Brandon League is just now standing on the mound. He's throwing along with Jesse Carlson, so he's loose. Carlson probably just facing 1 batter.
Here goes the runner. Here's Chavez. The throw. It's late, and Punto swipes second.
Carlson kind of forgets about him over there, and Punto takes off on first movement, steals it easily.
Strike 3 call. Down goes Span, and Carlson strands Punto. The Blue Jays maintain their 6-3 lead, and Ricky Romero is happy for the relief.
This is an easy one. John McDonald with the score tied 3-3. Fastball inner half, and he turns on it from John Ralph. Right down the line, hits it about 329. Second home run of the season. That puts the Blue Jays on top 6-3. Johnny Mack is our play of the game so far.
And a reminder, visit BlueJays.com to register for a chance to win prizes with the Burger King Superfan Contest. And there are some of the BK super fans in the Burger King section. The King is everywhere. Bottom of 7, with the Blue Jays leading 6-3. As we welcome you back to the Rogers Center. And we thank you for joining us tonight, spending some time with us as the Blue Jays and Twins contest Game 2 of a 4-game series. This is Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino. As Lynn pounds this breaking ball into the seats and out of play. Tomorrow night in Game 3, you'll see Carl Pavano for the Twins and Roy Halladay for the Blue Jays, searching for his 15th win. And that's bad news for the Twins. Imagine being stuck behind the Tigers by 6.5. You're down in this game late by 3, and you know that tomorrow when you come to the ballpark, you have to face Roy Halladay, who, if I'm not mistaken, Pat, was exceptional at his last outing.
Yeah, he was all right. Can't believe he gave up that hit.
Yeah.
You know? And I think if you are the Minnesota Twins, you also have to think about and look at Roy Halladay's numbers against you. He's never lost to him.
This is lined to center field, and that ball is caught by Span. A sliding catch takes care of Lynn. And how close did he come to trapping this?
Well, the one thing that the Minnesota Twins have always had is great defense in center field. Kirby Puckett comes to mind, Torrey Hunter, and now Bernard Span just taking it right off the grass, the turf for the first out, taking a hit away from Adam Lynn. And that's a good call by Joe West, the second base umpire.
Here's Vernon Wells. And how important was the walk he was able to draw in the 6th to load up the bases with nobody out, one that ended up chasing Brian Dunsing. And that is rifled up the middle, a base hit for Wells, and that's his first of the ball game. So here's Ruiz again, and he drove in the first run of the game for the Blue Jays with a sacrifice fly to center field. Ruiz was recently named the most valuable player for the AAA Las Vegas 51s. So congratulations to him. He deserved the call-up and got it. He's hit 6 home runs this year in the big leagues.
Let's hope he was the MVP.
Yeah, I would think
Those
so.
numbers.
He only hit about, what, 320, 25 home runs.
Lots of doubles, RBIs. 12 RBIs now and just 73 at bats since being recalled.
You don't hit them unless you swing, and he's swinging here 0-2 against Bobby Keppel.
Doesn't get cheated. I like that. You have to have an idea when you get in there, but once you do and you make up your mind, go ahead and be aggressive with it.
There he goes, and he goes quickly, striking out.
Keppel's got a sinker and a slider type of pitcher. Good action on that fastball there to get under the bat of Ruiz.
I wonder what the Blue Jays have in mind for Ruiz next year. Is this an audition to see if he might be capable of being a full-time DH? We saw him play at first base on Sunday against the Yankees. And perhaps Ruiz might have a spot coming off the bench against left-handers.
I think all players who are not established major leaguers, it's an audition. You're always trying to open somebody's eyes and if not the team you're playing for, remember there are scouts everywhere. And they're watching, and there's teams that need good hitters. So if you are not an established big leaguer, I think it's always a good idea to play for a job, audition, or whatever you want to call it.
And if Adam Lynn would be the full-time DH, could they use a guy like Ruiz to spell him from time to time and play a little bit of first base? There are many, many possibilities for a kid like Randy Ruiz. So what he has to do, I guess, is just have a very good September and leave a very good and lasting impression.
Yeah, so when they go into their meetings, their organizational meetings that the Blue Jays will have, his name will come up. Where does he fit on this ball club? You're right.
You know what, guys? I just left the scout seats moments ago, and teams like Cincinnati are represented here. The Chicago Cubs, Ed Lynch is here. Tom Mooney from the Milwaukee Brewers. So just because teams are out of it, they're still working hard as to what off-season acquisitions they may make, and still scouting the players right to the very end.
You're always playing for something. It doesn't matter.
Here's the 1-2 to Millar, and that runs inside. Bobby Keppel actually finished up the 5th inning in yesterday's ball game for starter Jeff Manship, but was not given credit for what would have been his first ever major league win. That victory was credited to Jesse Crain, the right-hander, who went an inning and a third and struck out 3. 6-3 is the score here in favor of the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 7th inning. Keppel in relief of Rausch with a payoff pitch. Runner goes, and it is hit hard to center field, but line right to Span. And the 7th inning ends that way. 6-3 Toronto. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. Sales event. If you buy one replica jersey, you get one free, and there's free cresting on one of those jerseys, plus 50% off all Blue Jays jackets and fleeces, golf apparel, select ball caps. That sale ends in 2 days, September the 10th. So for information, visit jaysshop.ca, or if you're in downtown Toronto, any Jays Shop location, most notably at the Eaton Center at Yonge and Dundas. Here's Scott Downs.
We talked to Zito Gaston the other day about the roles that the Blue Jays will have at the end of their games. the rest of the way out. And he said Scott Downs is going to pitch along with Jason Frazier somewhere at the end of the game. He might be the 8th inning guy. He might close out some ball games. It all depends on the situation. Well, Morneau and Kubel are coming up this inning after Cabrera leads off. So he wants his left-hander versus the left-handed hitters. And that's why we see Scott Downs in the 8th inning tonight.
Downs faces Orlando Cabrera here. Cabrera is 1 for 3. He scored a run. Minnesota took the lead in the first inning on an RBI double by Morneau. They held a 1-0 lead into the third and extended it to 3-0 then. There's a strike. Kubel, who's on deck, had the big blow in the third, a 2-run double. But the Blue Jays exploded for 6 in the 6th, capped by John McDonald's 3-run home run. As that is grounded to the left side, and Scudero makes the play, but he can't get it to first in time to get Cabrera.
That would have been an impossible play if he came up with that and was able to get something on it and accurate over to first base. He gets to it, but just can't get enough on it or accurately to get Cabrera, who still runs well. So a leadoff single by Cabrera in the middle of the lineup is now coming up.
Kubel's batting .309, and he takes strike 1. That's a good looking pitch.
Yeah, keep it down and keep it away from him. You got to get this guy here. I don't want to see Justin Morneau come to the plate as the tying run. I don't care that he hasn't been swinging the bat well of late or swinging the bat well at Rogers Center. I don't even want to give him a chance to come up as the tying run.
The 2-1 is low, and it's 3 balls and a strike. Grounded to second base. McDonald flips to second. Back to first, double play.
Huge double play. Turned by the middle infield. What a pitch by Scott Downs. He can run that fastball, even though it's 3-1. He runs it in on Kubel. This is tailor-made. With McDonald and Scudero in the middle of that diamond, that's an easy double play. Big out right there. He has been involved in more double plays than any shortstop in the American League. Marco Scudero, that's a big one right there.
Brings up Canadian Justin Morneau with the bases clear.
Sure, he feels a lot better about himself now facing Morneau. 2 out, nobody on.
10 of Morneau's 29 home runs have come against left-handed pitchers this year. He goes around 0-2. We'd like to offer up our congratulations to the 21st Canadian promoted to the big leagues. Last night, the Brewers called up right-handed pitcher John Axford, who's from Simcoe, Ontario, the Port Dover area. He's in the bullpen right now with the Brewers as they play St. Louis. An old teammate of Jeff Manship's from Notre Dame as that breaking ball runs away from Morneau. 1 ball and 2 strikes here. Downs looks in. Chavez goes through a series of signs. Strike 3 called, and Morneau drops the bat, looks at the home plate umpire, Paul Schreiber, and clearly disagrees. But the Twins come up empty against Downs here in the 8th inning. And as we head for the bottom half, it's Toronto on top by 3. Sign up now for just $19.95 or enjoy live baseball on your iPhone or iPod Touch with MLB At Bat app. BlueJays.com has the information, and you can check it out there. As here comes a left-hander for the Minnesota Twins in the bottom of 8. You look at number 50, Jose Mijares. He's a big, thick lefty. Looks a little bit like Eddie Guardado. And he faces Edwin Encarnacion here. Encarnacion with a 2-run single in the 6th inning. Rolls that foul. What a boisterous crowd here. 13,488 is the paid attendance. And a lot of them have just started school. There are a lot of university students in the crowd. There's a big cut from Encarnacion. He goes down on strikes.
Mijares has been very good for him. Nice find out in that bullpen for Ron Gardenhire. Makes quick work of Edwin Encarnacion.
There's a big chant-off going on here. I don't know if it's U of T against Ryerson. Perhaps someone like Laurier's involved, but it's pretty crazy up there. Here comes Raul Chavez, who last year got into 42 games with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Those poor Pirates who lost yesterday to the Chicago Cubs ensured their 17th consecutive losing season. As he shoots this to third, it backs up Harris. He makes the long throw. You know, the Pirates are the only team in North American professional sports to lose in 17 consecutive seasons.
Hard to believe, isn't it? That long?
Amazing. Hey, Martin Gaillard and Brad Fay are standing by. They'll be joining us with Sportsnet Connected after the ball game. Certainly the Argonauts are feeling the heat after losing the Labor Day Classic to the Hamilton Tiger Cats yesterday. The Stampeders dumped the Eskimos too. So you'll be hearing from them on Sportsnet Connected coming up after the ball game. There's McDonald blooping it out to left field. It's dropping quickly, and he's got a base hit. A 3-hit game for Johnny Mack, serving as a very, very valuable replacement for Aaron Hill tonight.
Been swinging the bat much nicer. He's been getting some more playing time. Last time he had 3 hits was down in Texas when the Blue Jays went down there at the beginning of this month. Doesn't hit that one hard, but just right in front of Delvin Young. 3 hits for John McDonald.
Back comes Marco Scutaro, who takes a healthy cut and falls behind 0-1.
We were talking about Maharis. What a find for him. His numbers are just off the charts. 32 strikeouts in his last 35 innings, just 13 walks. Comes out of that bullpen throwing smoke and throwing heat. He's not allowed a run in 32 of his last 37 appearances.
McDonald draws a throw. What has he got in his hand?
I don't know what that is. Is that a hunk of clay that he dug out?
It certainly looks like it.
Looked like he was going to hand that to the crew chief right there, Joe West.
Country Joe.
A hunk of clay
Look
that he dug out.
That's how you ingratiate yourself with the umpire. Here, hold my mud for a second. Throws a bullet there, 0-2.
They spend a lot of time on the mound here at Rogers Center, pounding that clay down.
You know what, Pat? With all the good weather we've had here, that sun tends to bake that clay down, so it's essential to keep it wet and covered throughout the course of the night. Tom Farrell and his crew doing a pretty good job keeping it in top shape with the kind of recent unexpected good weather here in September.
You come to the ballpark at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you'll see his crew out there just pounding away, getting that clay nice and hard for the pitcher.
Those guys have the strongest wrists in the city.
You've got to look at the numbers for John McDonald. Not really a threat to steal. Johnny Mack has only attempted 1 stolen base this year, and he's been thrown out. Does not have a very aggressive lead over there at first base. That's the 3rd time that he's thrown over.
There he goes. And this one is popped up. Redmond pushes Scutaro out of the way and makes the catch to retire the side. After 8 innings of play here at the Rogers Center, it's the Blue Jays 6, the Twins 3. We head for the 9th, and here comes Jason Fraser. faster than any other. Joe Mauer, who did not play tonight, his average of 369 is the highest by a catcher in Major League Baseball since Buck Ewing's average in 1893.
I remember him.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. That's not even considered the modern era, for goodness sakes.
You say hasn't played tonight. He can still pinch hit. They have him laid on the bench if Jason Frazier gets into trouble here. But look at the numbers that Frazier has put up this year. 6-2 with a 228 earned run average. This is his 52nd game. Those 6 wins are tied for 4th most among AL relievers. Lots of strikeouts for Frazier, and he has really handcuffed right-handed batters this year.
Change in left field as there's Travis Snyder. He replaces Adam Lind. You have Buck Ewing's rookie card, do you?
They didn't have cards back then.
No, they didn't.
I don't know.
Well, they were close to having them. Frazier against Skudyer, the 1-1 pitch. And he spots that pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This is a saved situation for Frazier, and he saved 6 games this year, his latest coming in the middle of August down in Tampa Bay. Recently against the Yankees, he got lit up in the 9th inning for 2 home runs, one by Alex Rodriguez, another by Jorge Posada in a 10-5 loss.
Overall, it's just been a great year for Jason Frazier.
It certainly has.
You look at his numbers, and they just jump off the pages when you start looking them up. I mentioned right-handed batters, how he has handled them this year. Righty's just hitting a .139 against Frazier. You have to respect the speed that he has in his pitches. We've seen him hit 93, 94 miles an hour. Then he drops that 3rd pitch on you, and it has really turned him into a very good reliever. We're talking about that changeup that he picked up. And he's used it for strikeouts, too.
There's a ground ball to first. Millar has it and gets Skudyer, who races down the line, 1 away. Commentator clothing is provided in part by Z Zenya. Statistical information provided by Stats Inc.
You mentioned those home runs that Frazier gave up against the Yankees. That stopped the scoreless streak that he had working. 13 2/3 innings of scoreless baseball when the Yankees reached him for a couple of home runs in the 9th inning.
This has been an inconsistent position for the Blue Jays this year as Frazier gets strike 1 on Brendan Harris. The Jays have had saves from 5 different pitchers. Scott Downs leads the way with 9 of them.
They haven't been in this situation too much.
Certainly not recently.
Just 34. This is just their 34th save opportunity this year, which is the lowest in the American League. Just 19 saves. 19 for 33.
How they would love to have a situation like, the Yankees or these Twins, guys who perform that role with regularity. Joe Nathan has 37 saves. Mariano Rivera in New York, 39. Brian Fuentes of the Angels with 39 of them. So this will certainly be a hot topic when camp opens in February. There's a fastball in 1-2.
Mariano Rivera is tied for the most in the American League. He's got 35 in a row. 39 leading. 35 in a row.
And that runs in and hits Harris. He trots down to first. A man is on for the Twins in the 9th inning.
Just the 2nd time that Jason Frazier has hit a batter this year. 2 strikes. He's trying to throw his off-speed pitch, and it hits Harris in the arm. Looks like a changeup right in the biceps area, or excuse me, triceps area. He will trot down to first base.
And the Twins will send up a pinch hitter. Here's Jose Morales, who is the 3rd catcher. And in fact, the 2nd Jose Morales to catch for the Twins in their history. They had a catcher in 1978 named Jose Morales. As the number 1 catcher, Joe Mauer, is swinging a bat on deck. A nice reserve to have for Ron Gardenhire as he gets a man on base with 1 out here in the 9th.
Let's leave him standing over there. The double play has been a big play for the Blue Jays tonight. They have turned 3 of them. Just when the Twins looked like they were going to get into something, the defense has stepped up. Double play in the 4th inning. 1 to end the 6th. The line drive at McDonald that he doubled a player off at first base. And then the big one last inning when Scott Downs was on the mound. 3-1 to Kubo, and he got him to hit into a double play. Do they have one more in them?
Well, the pressure's on Morales. And he swings 1 and 2. He's got to know how imperative it is for him to try and get on here, knowing that Mauer's on deck, knowing his team is behind by 3. But he is facing the hard-throwing Jason Frazier and finds himself behind in the count 1 and 2. Frazier's got the split grip. Easily adjusted once it goes into the glove. There's the pitch inside. Throw down to first, and oh my, Harris just gets back.
See, I love that.
That's Raul Chavez baseball right there.
Yeah, if there's a fastball in to a left-handed batter and a runner at first base, he is so quick how he gets it, and boom, it's down there. You can't stray off of first base too far. You know what that does is it helps his middle infield. Where if there is a ground ball now, Harris is now thinking about getting a little bit closer to first base. That'll help the middle infield if there's a ground ball, so he can't turn 2 and break it up.
Where's we'd like to say hello to those of you who have been watching the Red Sox on Sportsnet East. I'm Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino. The Red Sox with a walloping tonight. 10-0 was the final over the Baltimore Orioles. This is Jason Frazier on the mound in the top of the 9th inning, trying to save a game for the Jays here. Ricky Romero went 6 2/3 and left with a 6-3 lead. The Blue Jays exploded 4-6 in the 6th inning, and the big hit was a 3-run home run by John McDonald. So we welcome those of you who've been tuning in on Sportsnet East. 1 man on for the Twins, 1 out, and Jose Morales comes off the bench. He pinch hits here. We saw Raul Chavez throw down to first base earlier, and before our friends from Sportsnet East joined us, I was going to ask you, where does the power in the arm come from when you're in a squat position like that? You talk to middle infielders who always say you have to set your feet first.
Wrist. He's got quick wrist. Just snaps that ball down there. Gets his momentum going towards first base, but then he just snaps it. Harris is not off of first base very far. That could be good for the middle infielder.
Here's the pitch, swung on and missed. Morales strikes out. Down he goes. And so when Joe Mauer comes to the plate, there will only be 1 man on.
Jason Frazier has struck out 2 or more in 4 straight games. 9 strikeouts in the 4 innings that he has come in. And you can see why right there. Fastball up in the strike zone, rolls it right by Morales.
Mauer pinch hits for Mike Redmond. The Twins down to their last out, and they have the best hitter in the American League coming to the plate. He takes strike one. Mauer was a force yesterday, going 3 for 5. He had 2 singles, a double, and drove in 2 in the 6-3 Minnesota win. Here it's 6-3 Toronto. Jason Frazier, 2 strikes away from his 7th save of the year. Runner goes. They'll concede it as Harris swipes second.
That runner doesn't mean anything. Millar is playing back. Guy they've been looking for all night is right here.
Defensive indifference shown there as Chavez comes out, and we invite you to join us tomorrow night for game number 3 of this series. Roy Halladay goes against Carl Pavano, and the game will be broadcast on 2 channels, Sportsnet Ontario and Sportsnet Pacific. At 7 Eastern, Sportsnet East shows the Orioles and Red Sox from Fenway Park. Sportsnet West, also 7 Eastern, shows the Rays and Yankees from Yankee Stadium. That's tomorrow. Here's the 1-1. Fouled back. Now a ball and 2 strikes on Mauer. There aren't many holes in the man's swing at the plate as Frazier kicks and fires, and it misses 2-2.
That's what makes Mauer so tough, is he has a good idea at the plate. He will think right along with you. You start messing around with him with 2 strikes and trying to get cute, that's when he hurts you. Hitting .364 with runners in scoring position this year.
Frazier takes a stroll and now climbs back up on the mound. And a short delay here because somebody threw that foul ball back onto the field. The Twins are down by 3. I got a man at second, Joe Mauer pinch hitting. And 2 away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And here comes Frazier. Hit again into left field. Now don't throw it back on the field, you guys. Somebody keep it.
This is his 435th at bat of the season. He has only struck out 54 times. He has 53 base on balls. .369 average in production, 26 home runs and 82 driven in.
The 2-2. And it's rolled to the right side. Frazier covers and he steps on the bag. The ball game is over and the Blue Jays take the victory, and they're led by John McDonald with 3 hits, including a 3-run home run to cap a 6-run 6th as Ricky Romero picks up the win. For Pat Tabler, Sam Cousins.